Taurus. Almost 8 tons of German high alloy steel. A threat to any enemy. The most powerful gun in World of Tanks. Thousands dream of it. Millions tremble before it. But sometimes, even this gun can't compensate for the outstanding skills of a player. To avoid this happening too often, today we'll talk about armor penetration. Any gun has a standard set of characteristics. Damage, accuracy, aiming time, and rate of fire. But all this is useless if you're unable to penetrate the armor. To fire effectively, you should learn how penetration mechanics work. Understand their principles. Let's start with some theory from our confidential informant.
Every shell in the game has its penetration capability. The documentation specifies its average value when firing from 100 meters. The actual penetration can be 25% higher or lower. The damage caused is calculated in a similar manner.
Thanks, CI. Let's go further and have a small experiment. We'll take 2 T-57 Heavy and 2 AMX tanks. This choice is not accidental. Both vehicles feature 120mm guns, equal average damage, and almost the same penetration with armor-piercing and high-explosive shells. The key difference is the type of premium shells they have. The AMX features armor-piercing composite rigid shells, and the T-57 Heavy can fire high-explosive anti-tank shells. The targets are placed not far from our vehicles. I don't think any of the tanks will have problems penetrating their armor, but let's see. The first tank fires an AP shell, the second shoots an APCR shell, the third vehicle goes for a heat shell, and the fourth fires an HE shell. None of them had a problem. Let's make the task more complicated. We'll put the targets behind cover and repeat the experiment. As you can see, the result is a bit different. The HE shell dealt only splash damage, and the heat shell got stuck in the fence. But this isn't over yet. Now we're going to remove the obstacles and take the target a bit further away. The guns fire and the result is different again. Few people realize that different shell types would be best for firing at the same target in different situations. To do this correctly, you need some theory.
As you know, there are 4 shell types, each with its unique properties. The main shell type used by most tanks is the armor-piercing shell. These shells fly quickly, but their penetration capability slightly reduces with distance. Their penetration capability also reduces when they hit a destructible object, like a fence or a vehicle. The fastest shells are APCR ones. Only weekends pass by faster. APCR shells can go through fences too, but with distance they lose their penetration capacity more than AP shells. The heat shell is a different story. Its penetration capability doesn't depend on the range and remains the same along its entire trajectory. But this comes at a price. This shell is the slowest one. And if it hits a fence, it won't go any farther. HE shells fly almost as fast as AP ones,
Watching
and
some
they
World of
don't lose
Tanks
their
stuff.
penetration power with distance. After hitting any object, an HE
I'm just
shell
waiting for
detonates,
Jack
and its
to get the
fragments can
ARC
damage a
update.
vehicle nearby. In addition, these shells have the highest potential damage and the lowest penetration capability.
And now let me give you some pieces of advice. If you want to cause damage through fences, fire AP shells or APCR shells. To fire at a slow and well-armored vehicle located far away, you'll hardly find anything better than the heat shell. If you take a shot at scouts from a long distance, the ideal choice is the APCR shell. And if your enemies are paper thin, send them some high explosive parcels. And some more tips. Any destructible building consists of sections. If you want to destroy the building,